I want to take a little bit of a different twist on this silver video and just give you a little common sense things about where you get your information from. I think that's extremely important to consideration. Now, one thing I mentioned before, a lot of times shrewdness goes a lot further than even education. You need both, actually. You need both, or actually not so much formal education, but knowledge. You have to be very well read and keep up on things, be alert, and healthy to be alert too. But one thing I've always looked at a lot, which is a expression used by the Mossad, Israeli Mossad, is by way of deception thou shalt conduct war. And that is a very good motto to use in business. Very good motto. A lot of things are shrewdness. Now, the obvious thing is, if it's by way of deception thou shalt conduct war, you're not somebody out there telling everybody what your plans are. So I would question anybody who is on the internet, or not question them personally, but question in your mind, what is this person actually selling you? What are they selling you? In a lot of cases, they could be selling a newsletter, a blog. They could be maybe part of a news agency, or it could be a he or she, part of a news agency, just looking for subscribers. Now, I just want to point out right now, on YouTube, I kind of enjoy doing these silver videos, but I'm probably going to change a little more emphasis on how-to videos on various things that help average middle-class people, and actually put more upon videos on health. I've noticed those type of videos, they're a little more difficult to do and time-consuming, but they help the average person across the board. What I'm advising or anything on silver, gold, or any type of investment, it's a game that you're going to have some people are major winners and a lot of people are losers. And it's an important game to play too, because where you actually, the wealthy, make the most money is on capital gains. It isn't by shoveling crap. Even if they have a factory or business that generates money, that's one thing. You got to have different things doing different things. But capital gains is really where you get major jumps. And I want to point out that silver, at this current price, even though it might go a little bit below 26, it's going to have some serious capital gains. But I just want to point out, I'm probably going to change some emphasis and show some more how-to videos. I've noticed a number of things on YouTube. People doing paint work, doing things on cars, and different crap they're doing. I'm thinking to myself, I don't like the advice they're giving. I want to give some good advice out there. And if you're interested in that type of stuff, follow along. I think it benefits a more wide variety of people rather than saying silver, gold every day, because the simplest thing you got to remember about silver, gold right now, buy it. I guess the one thing I could state with certainty, reasonable certainty, is we're not going to see silver drop down to 21. There's a number of reasons now. It's not. Something might scare the crap out of the markets, bring down the equities, and bring down silver below 26. But it's not going to really crash really bad. I could tell. I'm going to give you a number of reasons. I'll give them right now. Mario Draghi, the ECB guy, he's, even though he doesn't come out and state he's doing all these really big easing policies, they're doing a number of policies. He's not going to let the euro fall. He's doing he's going to help a lot of people with a lot of countries with short-term debt. And as far as Ben Bernanke, he's doing easing policies. The investors don't like it because they're thinking they want him to come out with the big guns and hit QE hard, and they want to just pour in a bunch of money and nail it and just get the hell out. Obviously that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to double my money in a week, that kind of garbage, So he's disappointing the investors in that way, but he's not. He is doing easing. So it's very bullish for gold and silver and the commodities and all that type of stuff. Now, the one thing I just want to point out, very, very, very important, is shrewdness, and a lot of times I go by that motto the Mossad has by way of deception. A lot of times investors are misled into traps too. I think they are. And you know, the shrewdest people aren't going to tell you what to do. They're not going to go on YouTube and tell you what to do. I personally think I got a pretty good inside handle on what's going on in things. You know, I watched what goes on even with the physical silver crowd too. You know, I'm not used to this metals game. It's kind of something more relatively. I've always had some metals. I just, you know, I never liked the fiat funny money and all that kind of garbage. I knew about the Federal Reserve. It's a big racket from, like, I don't know, 30 years ago or something. I knew this stuff. I knew all this junk all these people are waking up to now with the New World Order, the UN. I mean, crap, I knew this junk way back when. So it's not news to me, so I don't panic every time some stupid story comes out. But I noticed that, you know, they got people panicking into metals when they're high. That's not smart, you know. Right now they're low, you know. But if you're in metals about 50% or more, I mean, you don't need to be buying more. I mean, just sit on cash too. I mean, God, I mean, it's not good to sit on a real lot of cash, but it's good to sit on some cash because opportunities will come up unexpectedly. Just keep your eye out, you know. Keep that old, you know, I shouldn't say this, but keep that Jewish nose smelling, sniffing the air, looking for other investments. In other words, when something will present itself, you know, you don't have to like put all your money into something right now. Even though the metals are still pretty low, even though I had a good day today, they're still low. And I think within a month they're going to be up quite a bit. Don't necessarily jump into something all the way. Always keep some cash reserves. That's even a Mark Farber advice, and I like that guy a lot. I don't actually pay attention to hardly anybody that has a silver channel on YouTube. I know they got the guy out there selling books and a guy in so many business in years, and you know, they got these bloggers out there. They're all selling their advice. I'll listen to two people basically. Mainly it's Mark Farber because he gives me a lot more specific information, and Jim Rogers. And there's a couple other ones I'll listen to. But I mainly just read various stories during the day, and I like keeping up on this stuff, and I'll look at various angles and what it means. Now today, silver rose a lot. Same with, you know, all the metals rose a lot. Yeah, silver did a little bit better. Some days silver doesn't do so good. But, you know, everything went up. The markets went up. The Dow went up. The NASDAQ went up. The S&P went up. And oil had a very, very good day. It went up almost $4. So oil right now is at a 10-week high. Part of the reason oil went up is not just because of the policies with Mario Draghi talking about. He actually is doing stuff to ease the situation in Europe, but he's got everybody over a barrel, basically, all other countries. And you know, this is the game I was saying all along. It's centralized control. They want every crisis situation, centralized control. Now, what I'm saying to you, even though I'm not, well, you could look at me as a person coming at you from YouTube trying to get subscribers, but I'm not really playing that game. I'm not. I might play it in some other areas with mechanics and how to do things because I think that helps a larger amount of people save money on a real situation. But what I'm telling you right now, you could be very safe into going into metals right now. If you're not in metals and you want to put 25 or more % of your money in metals right now, you got a safe bet. You got a safe bet. I can tell you that right now. Now, the other reason crude oil went up is not just because of easing in Europe, but it was this. U.S. non-farm payrolls report showed employers added more jobs than they originally forecast for July 2012. So that means the economy's doing good, but the unemployment rate's going up. But usually when you get a bit of news like this, this helps. But it's not the only bit of news that drove up oil prices. Besides, I think the oil markets are a little bit rigged, so they could have, you know, it's leverage. Leverage drives them up a little more. You might see the thing pull back a couple bucks on Monday. Now, as far as you know, the other angle with oil prices, I was stating this, and this is basically my own angle, pretty much. I don't think anybody was saying it, but I'll say it again. was the drought situation in the Middle West has caused agriculture prices to go way up, like corn doubled, soy doubled, and all this garbage. And also water, the drought situation is causing the scarcity of water, and the actual methods they use to extract shale oil. That's the type of oil that's being extracted in the United States mainly. That's where the big oil boom is coming from. They use a hell of a lot of water. And now the water isn't as available as it was, and it's twice as expensive or more. So that's going to affect oil production. So I think that's going to affect the price of the WTI and also the price of natural gas. They use the fracking situation where they also will use a hell of a lot of water to break up the ground so to push out the natural gas. It's like the same kind of, I don't know if it's not exactly the same, but they're using water in both situations to get oil out of shale oil and also natural gas out of the ground. They're both using lots of water. So drought situation throughout most of the United States is going to cause those two commodity prices to go up besides monetary easing. That's a very important consideration. Now, I want to get into this expression. I've always liked this expression. This is an expression by the Mossad. I'm not saying I'm necessarily a fan of Mossad, but it's a very good thing to keep in mind in business. And this is one reason I always state to myself, a person that has an angle on something and has a surefire method of making money, sure as hell is not going to make that information public. They will actually tell you to do the opposite if they had any brains. So that's why I always wonder, why are people listening to some of these people giving out advice? Maybe, like I said, what they're doing is they're selling newsletters, they're selling blogs, or they're keeping a pump and dump going when it's near the peak, so a lot of buyers will push it up even higher while they sell. Now, I don't want to get, let me put it this way. I work for like Jewish businessmen. I was an accountant for these guys, right? Now, I'm not born Jewish, so I'm not on the inside. So, I mean, I don't know if they really, depends on who it is, how, it's like any religion, you can get real hardcore if you're real hardcore. If you ain't born it, you ain't one of them, But I always liked dealing with these guys. They were cool. They're shrewd. They know what the hell they're doing. And the shrewdness is where it gets, you really make out. You got to be in an area a lot of people are not thinking of, or doing something that's smart that a lot of people aren't thinking of. And you will not blab this all over the place. Now, today I could say the metals are a very good bet because the average middle class is scared of crap of going into silver. It's like 27, and it was like 47 a little over a year ago. I'm going to stick with my bonds and my equities. And I'm like, go ahead, you suckers. But, what can I tell you? For my small channel, I'm not going to influence the world to tell anybody what to do. But, they're probably, if you're into metals right now, you're in a good situation. You don't need to be 100% though. That's bad advice. Somebody tells you to go to 100% physical silver, they're bullshit. I want to tell you right now, that's bullshit, garbage advice. You do not want to go 100% physical silver. God, but physical silver's smart, and a good percentage of physical silver is very smart. But just remember this expression, by way of deception thou shalt do war. You're being fed bullshit from all different angles. So a lot of times, it's not just from J.P. Morgan. It could be from the silver crowd. It could just be from an innocent person trying to sell their blog, or they're a news commentator or some garbage. And, the biggest sales pitch guys that are out there, the best sales pitch guys that are out there that people pay attention to the most, are the ones with lots of initials after their names. And that's a lot of times the motive for education. People listen to me because I'm an MBA, I'm a PhD or whatever, or I've been in business for so long. It's all part of the game. But what the hell are they really selling? If they have an angle. I'm going to give you a good example. This was in New York City. A guy had a hot dog stand back in the 70s. Making $100,000 a year on a hot dog stand, and nobody knew about it, right? So some stupid, like a jerk, somebody did a news story on it. He put it on like the national news, right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, man! Like nobody knows about this spot. I mean, these people from like they got a lot of money. I could charge them like an extra dollar or something for a hot dog or whatever." And this is back in the '70s, so $100,000 back in the '70s was like $250,000 today, and that's got to have a national news story on, I don't know, CBS, ABC, or NBC. It's one of those little stories at the end of the news hour. And all of a sudden, everybody picked up on it. Inside of 2 weeks, there was like dozens of hot dog stands out there, and it killed his business. So one thing, if you got an angle, you keep your mouth shut. So you're not going to be on YouTube trying to blab about, I got an angle, and they want you in on it. They're selling you a bag of goods. They're selling you a bag of goods. I want people to remember that garbage. By way of deception, thou shalt do war. Now, a lot of situations. Now, like I said, in my angle, I'm just giving you out basic common sense information, and I like doing this. It's just fun. But I think I'm going to probably change a little bit of the emphasis on the channel to some more homegrown things that help the middle class, which is how to cure stuff for real. The doctors hate. I like doing that stuff. I like actually doing some type of construction stuff. I do my own garbage, even though I got a brain. I do a lot of exercise. I do a lot of my own garbage. I'll do construction on, just build stuff, 4x4s, 2x4s, concrete, and all this garbage, Do my own mechanical work. I know a lot of, like, smart ways to do things cheap that won't cost a lot of bucks, and I'm going to relay a lot of those in some of the future videos, but they take some more time to do. Now, I just want to remember that you don't want people to remember about investment advice. I'm probably giving you one of the better advice out there, but I'm going to tell you flat out where I usually get most of my advice from, and what I listen to, pay attention to most, is Mark Farber. He just seems to ring true with me. He seems to ring very true with me. So I don't actually pay attention to a lot of silver channels. I know people are telling me to watch this guy, watch that guy, watch this guy. I watched him and I'm like, I smell something different, okay? I smell something different. I smell somebody trying to sell a channel. Now, I guess I am too, but I'm going to tell you right now, this to me does not help the average person. I mean, if I told everybody to dump into silver and gold, that ain't going to help them. They're going to be caught holding a bag. I swear to God. You few people right now that are holding silver and gold, you guys are in good shape. As long as you sell at the right time and then go into another hard asset that's depressed. Then you're cool. Now, I want to add something else out here. I always show a lot of these girls in bikinis and stuff like that. And it's like I just don't want to put a stupid coin up there. With a moose head on it or some garbage. So I always put somebody with silver on it. But I want to point out something. This is another expression I like besides by way of deception, thou shalt do warfare, because it does very much apply to the manipulative woman. And, you might as well, you could apply that to everything. But there was an expression out there by a Roman called Cato. You've probably heard that name before. He was in around the 3rd, 4th century A.D. And a lot of times he has all these expressions out there. He was they're like little words of wisdom. It's about business. It's about law. It's about loyalty. A lot of different things. Let the buyer beware was like probably one of them. And a lot of times when they were teaching Latin, they used Cato's expression. But he has one about women, which I thought was pretty good. And is when the woman weeps, she is setting a trap. Or it's, in other words, put another way, it's like she sets a traps with her tears. And that is usually a manipulation method. Now, I've noticed some of the most wealthy are they're not the ones in control. It's their wives, 110%. And they're just waiting for this guy to die and write a check to him. I swear to God. That's a lot of them are doing. That's what a lot of them are. That's another situation you don't want to get yourself into either. And one of the smartest things to do is to stay low profile and never shoot your mouth off about what you have. I know a lot of times with guys, as soon as they got some money, they're out there buying a car. or some shit like that because they're show-offs, you know. And you know that announces money. You know what you drive. Now some of the smarter people, and I know I've seen some people have some serious money. They will not drive new cars. They drive old cars. I mentioned one guy. Actually, he was a Jewish guy too. He used to crack me up. I'm not going to say what his name was, but he had like the first Toyota dealership in Central Florida many years ago. And he retired. He's a multimillionaire. He has a Toyota. It's not the Camry. It's the one that's above it. But it was like 10 years old and has like 170,000 miles on it, even though it's in great shape. But it's an old car. If you see this guy driving around, you never think he has all that money. Not in a million years. And I think, you know, that's also following that rule by the way of deception. You don't want to attract unnecessary attention. People actually trying to seek for money from you and acting nice. That's another game too. So just beware of the angle people are coming at you from, whether they're giving you financial advice or whatever, or even on a personal level. They got all kinds of little garbage games going on, and usually I can read them very well. It's amazing the situation some people get involved. Some of the people that are shrewdest in business get screwed up by the shrewder half. The shrewder half. So you know, just remember that other expression also by way of deception. That expression from Cato is woman sets her traps with her tears. You can kind of like twist that expression around different ways, but it's always, I'm a victim and this person did this to me and that person did that to me. You know, just put yourself in the other shoes. If you were telling her this shit, she would tell you to get lost because you're a loser. So remember that too. Remember that too. I got mostly males on my channel as far as silver goes, and I don't really give a damn what I'm saying here. I know when it comes to health videos, it's like a 50-50. I'm probably going to put a lot more health videos out there, different things like that. I think that's a very important topic. And actually, health is more important than wealth, believe it or not. You know, health is actually more important than wealth. Being young forever, you know, 1,000 years old and 25 years old, you know, would be a pretty cool endeavor if that could actually happen, rather than having a hell of a lot of money and looking like George Soros. So anyway, those are the words I got for today. I might change the emphasis of the channel a little bit on some how-to stuff for the middle class guys, and save some bucks, do things right, and actually do it in a much cheaper fashion.